Hey everybody, it's Ashley again. Last night I made some potato soup and it is the best potato soup that you'll ever taste. When I was a kid, my stepdad used to make this for us all the time and I've been making it since. Give a shout out to my stepdad, Doug. Thanks for the recipe. In the last clip that I have, I said that I don't know how much it cost. I don't know, I just say things sometimes. So I went ahead and calculated it today for you. And this makes about 4 servings. And I'll have the ingredients down below and I'll put a breakdown of the cost below. Enjoy. These are the ingredients you're going to need. I got this cheese melt. This is $3.99 at ALDI. That's probably the cheapest you're going to find. This stuff is like Velveeta. 1 egg. A little bit of milk. This is probably about a little bit more than half a cup. It's in this little yogurt thing. That's not yogurt, it's milk. Flour. Dollar Tree, best seasoning ever. Tastes just like Mrs. Dash chicken. Salt, pepper. Take your pan, fill it up with potatoes. I'd say, this is what I do, I just fill up like the bottom with potatoes and that's about how much. Chicken, I'm only going to be using 1 chicken breast for this. And I think that's it. First step I do is I wash my hands, wash the potatoes. I already have the onion peeled, so that's ready to be cut. Potatoes are cut. They filled up. Look at that. It's like at least halfway. Move on to the onion. We'll cut that up. You can cut these however big you want, however small. Just make sure that when it comes time to start doing the other stuff, that they're cooked. Okay, next step is to take your chicken breast, get all this nasty, gross stuff off of it, cut it into little cubes, just like everything else. Squares, we're going to cut this into squares. Alright. Alright, that took me forever because I'm so picky about what's in my chicken, but chicken's cut up in little squares. I didn't even use a whole chicken breast, probably about 3/4 of it. And this is going to be plenty for the soup because it's not going to be the star of the show. The star of the show is actually going to be the crullers, and that's going to be made from the egg and the flour. Everybody calls this dumplings, but my stepdad called it crullers, so that's what I've been calling them. That's what we call them. So the chicken, I don't put the chicken in until the potatoes get cooked a little bit. So now we're going to fill this up with water, about a 1/2 inch over what you have in there. And then we're going to season up with about a tablespoon of this stuff, give it some flavor, and some salt and pepper. And I'll probably put, I guess maybe a teaspoon of salt and lots of pepper right now. But at the end, we'll season it anyway. We have the pot on, and I turned it to almost to high. Once it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it back down to probably medium. And next up, we're going to cut this cheese. We're not going to use the whole thing, of course. There's not a big enough pan even for that much. I use about 1/3 in this size of a pan. I really don't know how big the pan is, but you see how much food was in it? Use 1/3 of this. And you can just put this back in the fridge, and it lasts forever and ever because it's probably really bad for you. But in order to make this so tasty, you kind of need this kind. Here's how big my chunk of cheese is. It's real hard to cut this, especially when it's really warm like this, but the trick is to keep your knife with some liquid on it. Oops. And it should slice a lot better for you, see. Oops, I'm not even watching it. It's hard to hold the camera and cut at the same time. Alright, water, slice. Oh yeah, so much easier than if you didn't have that water on there. Just a little trick. Cut this into cubes like everything else. The soup is boiling. I put it down to like 1 notch after medium, since I don't have a nifty thrifty stove here. And I think this is a good time to put the chicken in. Just drop it in there and then stir it up. Make sure it's not sticking together. I would do this on camera, but I only have one hand, so you'll have to forgive me. This is still a medium. It's boiling pretty good. Just keep stirring it. I'm gonna wait until, well, I'm not gonna wait, but when you can cut a potato really easily with this spoon, then that's about the time that you need to start doing the crullers and putting the milk and the cheese. But you want to do the crullers in boiling water. So to make the crullers, we're going to throw an egg in the bowl, crack it, mix it up, and then you're going to add flour. Keep adding flour and adding flour only until it gets really, really sticky and difficult. Really, really sticky to your fingers, and I'll show you in a minute. Alright, having my husband hold the camera because I wanted you to see how much flour I'm putting in here. It's going to be difficult. I just start with a tablespoon. You're going to need a lot, so it's not just a tablespoon. Heaping tablespoons, couple heaping tablespoons. And start mixing it. You should know how difficult it is to mix flour with egg. I don't have a thing down pat. But alright, I can already tell that that is way too much liquid. So we'll add some more. Whoops. With flour all over the place. Whoops. Flour's going everywhere. Okay. Alright, this is starting to get where I want it. It's still liquidy, but it's not, I mean, it's just going to be really sticky. This will definitely stick to your fingers. Next we need to add a lot of salt in these. I do anyway. Just put a lot. And I like cracked pepper in mine. So I put a lot of that in there too. Just to give them some flavor so they just taste like flour and egg when you're eating them. Get that all mixed in. So these were pretty large eggs that I just used. And I really don't like eating that part of the egg, so I took that out. Kind of grosses me out. It's like the little baby of the egg. It's gross. Okay. Now, if you can see, this is really, really sticky. It's really gross and sticky. That's where you want it. The trick is, so the pot is going to be boiling. Make sure it's boiling. And you want to get a little bit of water. Get a little bit of water. And dip your finger in it. Dip the fork in it. And this is how it's going to come off. So we're making the crullers now. And I try to get them about that big. You drop them in there. Try to make sure they get in the boiling. So we'll turn this up a little bit. Maybe. And then you just keep doing that until your bowl is gone. Every so often, dip your fingers back in the water and get you some more. This is probably a little easier if you use a spoon because it has that rounded part. But I had a fork already and I didn't feel like dirtying a spoon. If you have a helper, this is really where you want somebody helping you. husband usually helps me put these in here. And like I said, these taste really, really good. So if you wanted to make 2 eggs worth, by all means, go ahead. You'll have a lot of colors. Boom. Alright, you can stop them. Here's a soup with all these dumplings, but I call them crullers. Just say that because I know that you guys are going to be like, hey man, those are dumplings. But make sure you get them all under the boiling water. And I'm going to check a potato. It looks like they're starting to fall apart. So, oh yeah. That just like fell apart with the thing. Now, I don't mind if potatoes get overdone because it just makes it kind of like a chowdery. So, to me, it doesn't matter if they're overdone. Everything in here is pretty well cooked. I'm going to turn down the heat to like 1 click after low. Throw in all this cheese here. I'm just going to throw it in slowly. And throw in this little cup of milk that I have. Cheese is in. Pour the milk in. And stir this up and wait until all this cheese gets really melted down. I'm sorry for the camera. I don't have like really high-tech cameras to use, but see the chunks are still in there, those chunks of cheese. Stir this up. Keep stirring until all the chunks of cheese are completely melted in. It's starting to smell so unbelievably good in here. Once this cheese gets in here, it starts to smell like cheese and potatoes and chicken and everything mixed. It's so good. This is so like the tastiest potato soup in the world. But it is called potato soup, so that's why we have so many potatoes. It's not called chicken soup. It's not called cruller soup. It's called potato soup. So you will have a lot of potatoes, and then the other things are like, ooh, oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good. Cheese is melted. This looks perfect, but there's still another step. I'm going to bring it up to where it simmers just a little bit, and I always let it sit there for about 10 minutes at least, because the flavors, they really need to like marry together. This is the kind of soup that if you put it in the fridge the next day, it tastes even better. So you want those flavors to all mold and mush together. But that should be about it, except for make sure you clean up. Raw eggs, had that rinsing. I had raw chicken on that plate. I rinsed that for a while, the whole time. And make sure you clean up your hands really good and your whole area. Alright, this is the finished product. Soup is in the bowl. I'm going to taste it, but I don't think that you guys need to watch me taste it. I don't know what you want to watch. But I like to put a little dab of Tabasco in each bite and a little chunk of butter. So, I like a little chunk of butter in my bowl. Probably a little bit more than that, but that'll be alright. I guess I'll just use the Texas Pete right now. Put a dollop in there somewhere. I'm gonna get a bite. Taste it. It is steaming. That's good. That's really good. Yeah. I just got a big bite of a cruller. So, that's my stepdad's potato soup. And it is amazing.